Hello everybody, this is Elliot from ETJ English. I hope you're doing well. Now today, we are going to be learning some phrasal verbs, but also I'm going to be telling you how you could win a free grammar book. And trust me, it's one of the best grammar books you could possibly get. Most of you know that this channel is mostly about pronunciation, and I receive messages on Facebook, messages on YouTube, messages everywhere, and they're all about grammar. Elliot, how can I improve my grammar? Elliot, how can I learn grammar alone? And you know, I've always given the same answer. I've been giving this same answer for years, and it's always been this book, English Grammar in Use. It's written by Raymond Murphy. Raymond Murphy is a best-selling author. He's a best-selling grammar author. Now, I did plan on making a video about this book a while ago. However, it was an older edition. Luckily, I didn't, because very recently, Cambridge University Press approached me and told me that they are releasing a new version of this book. And this is the new version, the 5th edition. They just wanted me to tell you a little bit about it, and I don't need this. So I thought, well, why don't I give this to one of you? So there will be a competition, and I'll explain that in a second. So like I said, it's written by Raymond Murphy, who is the world's best-selling author of English grammar books. This book has helped millions of people all over the world, and I have recommended this book to so many of my students, and they've absolutely loved it. So this new edition, the new features of it, really is just a fresh new feel to it. They've changed the language a little bit, but they've still kept the same content and the same simplistic, easy to understand teachings, which I've always admired in these books. I've always loved the way things are explained in this book. It makes grammar easy. The other great thing about it is it can be purchased with an interactive ebook. You're able to do lots with this ebook. You can highlight sections, you can bookmark pages, you can even listen to some examples which are included in the ebook. I always find that at some point an English learner, even if they're very advanced, they need help with grammar. There's always going to be some small mistakes that they make, and sometimes there's not a teacher available. And this book, it kind of replaces teachers. It covers all of the grammar that you need to speak English clearly and confidently and be understood by natives. It explains phrasal verbs in detail as well, which I really do like. I'm glad they've included that in this book. So you'll learn things, you'll have some example explanations in the book, and there are lots of exercises which you can do to actively use what you learn, which is the most important part of learning grammar, using it. And it gives you that. So generally this book is aimed for intermediate levels of grammar. So if you have kind of like that middle level of grammar, but it needs that boost, it needs that extra, this book is definitely the one for you. Young adults and fully grown adults. And that kind of links back to what I said about it being very simple and easy to understand. And it makes my job a lot easier because I'm a pronunciation teacher, and sometimes my students ask me grammar questions. And yes, I know a lot about grammar, but if I just say, get this book, then all of their questions are answered, and they bug me a lot less. Now, I know what you want to know. You want to know, how can I win this? How can I win this copy? How can I win this copy which Elliot is holding in his hands right now? All you have to do is use the hashtag English Grammar in Use in the comments, and I will select at random one person to win this book. I will send it directly to you with a little message from me, and I will announce the winner in 1 week on the 31st of January. 31st of January, you could be a winner. So hashtag English Grammar in Use in the comments section, and you could win one of these. If not, there is a link below where you can buy the book and find out more about it. Please feel free to if you are really interested in improving your grammar. Okay, so that's that done. Now, let's talk about some phrasal verbs. And the first one I want to mention is be off. Now, sometimes we'll actually just use the word off, and it basically means to go. So I know this sounds weird, but for example, if I said to one of my friends, I'm off to Paris tomorrow. I'm off to Paris tomorrow. This is a really common kind of fluency phrase, actually. It's something we would say quite a lot. And that basically means, I'm going to Paris tomorrow. I'm off to Paris tomorrow. I'm going to Paris tomorrow. Okay, so you can use that and sound a little bit more like a native. Now you could also walk off, run off, drive off. And that simply means to leave, but doing something. So walk off. Let's say I was having a conversation with someone and then I walked off. Or I crashed my car and then I drove off. Meaning drove away, exited the area, left the area. I find that that one's really useful in stories. So I could be telling a story, for example, about a time when somebody crashed into my car. And I could say, I was driving and suddenly someone crashed into my car. And obviously, usually when we crash cars, we're supposed to get out and talk to each other, share our insurance details, and organise some kind of payment for the damage. However, he just drove off, and that means he left. So we use this a lot when we're telling stories. Really, really useful one, that. So just using an activity, driving, walking, running, with the word off. And what about go on? For example, what's going on? Very, very simple question, but what does it mean? What's going on? It basically means happening. What's happening? So maybe I'm meeting with some of my friends and they are already together and they're doing something. I could walk up to them and just say, all right guys, what's going on? And that just means, what are you doing? What's happening? I could also use go on to tell somebody to continue talking. So if someone's talking to me and then maybe I accidentally interrupt them, I stop their speech by interrupting, I could then say, sorry, go on. And that just means continue. Carry on is another example. Carry on. Now this one with off I really like. To doze off. My dad says this one a lot. To doze off is very simple. It just means to fall asleep. So, I was taking a break from work. I just had some lunch, sat in my chair, and I dozed off. I fell asleep. Dozed off. There are a few other ones we can use as well. Nod off. Past tense would be nodded off. I nodded off. Fell asleep. Also, drop off. So those are 3 different ways of saying that you fell asleep with a phrasal verb. Nod off, drop off, doze off. Use them next time you tell someone that you fell asleep. See what happens. They might be quite impressed. And finally, another one with off, tell off. To tell someone off. Now, I used to get told off a lot in school. I know I'm a teacher now, but when I was in school, I wasn't the biggest fan of school, let's say. So I used to not listen to my teachers. I used to sit there very, very bored all the time and talk to my friends. And my teachers, they would tell me off. I used to get told off a lot. If someone tells you off, they're simply shouting at you or complaining about something you're doing. I get told off a lot by my girlfriend for leaving milk out of the fridge by accident sometimes, or leaving a door open, or there's so many things I get told off for, okay? I'm sure many people who are in relationships can relate to this situation of getting told off for things you do. Now write in the comments, did you used to get told off a lot in school? Or were you a bit of a goody two-shoes? Goody two-shoes means that you were very sensible, you did everything correctly and never got in trouble. So were you a goody two-shoes, or did you used to get told off quite a lot, like me? And there you go, there are some useful phrasal verbs for you. Don't forget, if you want your free grammar book, only one of you can win it. Go ahead and hashtag English Grammar in Use. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure, as always. I will see you next week. Cheers, bye.